Hey, it's Lock and Load Monday. We've got an out of control DLNR, Department of Land and Natural Resources, and this particular officer was charged for 5 counts: sexual assault. I mean, he's wearing his uniform. Sexual assault on a minor on a secluded beach. I'm going to link the article real quick. And this is, here on the Big Island, aside from when they have extra agents or had extra agents to deal with the Mauna Kea 30-meter telescope controversy, basically they have 4 agents out patrolling, and they have the new 2015 codes, which they are using to label people violators and have an excuse to seize their guns. So if you recognize this officer and you got your gun seized by this guy, and you hired a lawyer to contest the seizure, you can add this to the list of things. I linked the article in the show information on the external in YouTube and on in gun channels also. But let me screen share it as well. One sec. All right, so here we are, West Hawaii today. Law enforcement officer for the Department of Land and Natural Resources was charged with 5 counts of sexual assault on a juvenile girl. So again, these are the same guys who are, charged with, took an oath to, uphold the law. And this guy's name that is charged is Ethan Ferguson. So it took the Captain Robert Wagner, Criminal Investigation Division, said the alleged attack took place about noon in Hilo's Keaukaha area. Beach is often isolated. And the juvenile girl was a local resident. And she and the DLN officer were alone on the beach when the attack allegedly occurred. He added the girl and the alleged assailant were not acquainted. Let's see. Ferguson was arrested Thursday in Hilo and charged with 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault, Class B felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison, 3 counts of fourth-degree sexual assault, and a misdemeanor punished by incarceration up to a year. There's a special place in hell reserved for people who take someone's innocence away like that. And this is who's on the DLNR. These are the guys who come and demand to check your weapons and see if you have any violations at all that they can use an excuse to seize your guns. And as I said before, in like last week's show or the week before, I had actually sent an email to the acting enforcement top cop of the DLNR. And he said that they can't actually forfeiture the guns or anything that they seized. They've never issued any forfeiture statements because they lost a court case, Carlisle versus One Boat. Basically, they tried to seize a boat and some fishing nets for some fishing violations, and they lost. So they're seizing the guns. So for all you know, this guy right here might have your guns at his house, if he seized your guns. So you might want to bring that to the attention if you're fighting a seizure in court of your lawyer. So, I mean, I just can't say how out of control things are. Uh, and as far as how he got on the DLNR, he used to be a Honolulu police officer, but he got drummed out apparently. It says he was fired in 2013 after he falsifies records and lied to investigators about transporting a female runaway who was underage. Honolulu online news outlet Civil Beat reported on February 18th, 2014. But there's little public information because the department's rules require the destruction of police disciplinary files 30 months after the launch of an internal investigation. So, um, you know, this is where acting agent, I think, I'm trying to remember his name. I'd have to look through my emails. But the guy in charge, he hasn't been confirmed. He's an acting chief of the enforcement division. But these are your guys, this is your guy. He's still being paid. They sent him a letter taking away his police powers, but he's on paid leave. So obviously he's innocent until proven guilty, but if they find him guilty of this, I hope he gets the max, and I think I think, he's got some hurt coming his way for what he did, if he did it. But as far as these are the people that are, in charge of enforcing, the 2015 hunting regs that the governor signed have absolutely nothing to do with wildlife conservation, the environment, conservation of any kind. It's all about, gun regulations. If you have a full metal jacket, bullet anywhere in your belongings, they can seize your gun for that. They can seize your gun for this. They can seize your gun for the other. It's all what it's about. Obama had a meeting and called up all the governors, whether a conference on a phone or a video conference, and he told them to do what they can do. And, so when you have people just raping the Second Amendment rights, stripping those rights away from, average, ordinary, everyday hunters, and I'm not saying all the other DLNR people are as bad as this guy, but, what do you do if you're out hunting with your, if you have a daughter and you're out hunting and some DLNR guy wants to check all your guns, I don't know. That would be a tough situation because, they're just totally out of control. And for shit, we got a mayor who's, puts Korean hostesses, translation hookers on the government credit card, and the state attorney general has been investigating him for like, over a year, and it hasn't even, formed a grand jury or anything. He's just sitting on it. So there's like a law for the rest of us, and then there's the law for, uh the mayor and everybody else. But if this guy did what he's accused of, man, I hope he gets the super max and they tattoo his crime on his forehead. But so anyway, I can't think of how that department could be more out of control than they are. And it kind of pisses me off. But so hey, I don't we can't take I can't take my handguns out to the local range anymore. I mean, because we don't have a range, we just have state hunting areas that are used as ranges because the anti-gun people will not approve a range, and this isn't even being reported. in the local, on the local news stations. So it just, you know, they strip away our Second Amendment rights, and they're meanwhile they're also, raping your daughters on the beach. So it's just totally, I don't, the DLNR is just completely out of control. So, whatever the governor's trying to do with it, you know, he needs to pull his head out of his ass, get somebody who knows how to run the department and just won't do whatever he tells them to do. Get an honest law enforcement officer who knows how to, run a police, a law enforcement division, you know. And I mean, I know all the DLNR agents aren't uh, going to be as bad as this guy, but there was only 4 of them. Now there's 3, I guess. Well, I mean, this guy's still on paid. Maybe he's paid leave, or maybe he's just working a desk or something. I wonder if I go ask to pick up a physical copy of the new 2015 Hawaii hunting regs that the governor signed, if this guy will be the one that hands it out. You know, they just stuck him in the main office and told him not to leave his desk. But he's on paid leave. He's still getting paid. And, you know, it's just, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. And, you couldn't even write that. Uniformed law enforcement officer, state law enforcement officer, you know, uh, they just bought AR-15s and shotguns for these guys because they say there's a threat of terrorists, like, you know, as they do their patrols through the Hawaiian bush or on the beach or something. But I've never seen a terrorist anywhere in the bush in Hawaii, out in the jungle. There's no terrorists out in the jungle in Hawaii. Um, they're out hunting to collect guns, and I guess, you know, this guy let the power go to his head, and uh, I can't even, you know, it, I don't know how more out of control could the DLNR be? You know, what 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 if there's any terrorists in the bush, it's the DLNR, you know, and and it's not the just hunters. You can't even take a 22 rifle and teach your kid how to shoot because it's not a, authorized hunting round. And you can't take him out to a hunting area and teach him how to shoot on a 22 because it's not a powerful enough round to go hunting with. So uh, they'll just seize your guns and arrest you and make you appear in court. And if you take the case to court, you'll win because they have no confiscation powers. They just have seizure powers. And actual property confiscation case is different than just seizing it out in the field. So uh, but hey, they gave him AR-15s and badges, and either, it's like, I don't know what else they can do what else could possibly do that could be any worse to prove that they're out of control. But the buck stops with the guy who's running the agency, and that's, well, one, that's the governor wrote the hunting codes, and two, it's the temporary acting chief enforcement guy for the DLNR. I mean, if you didn't research the guy's background in the first place, maybe he shouldn't have been on the DLNR at all. If he got fired from Honolulu Police Department for specifically something similar to what he just got charged with. But anyway, so I don't know what your regular citizen is supposed to do. If the governor and the state attorney general don't want to do anything, and nobody, the local news isn't even reporting it. So I mean, it's in the paper, but it's not like splashed on the headline, TV news in Hawaii at all. I mean, completely out of control state agency. Uh, and it's I don't know what it's you bring it up with every DLNR guy you meet, because when they teach those hunting courses, they pretty much come in there at the end and threaten to take all your weapons if you violate one rule, the smallest rule. So jackboot jackboot thugs, I guess somebody called them, but uh, I've just I've never even you know conceived of an agency that's it's like the nature Gestapo, you know, the Bush Gestapo or something. Drinking some tea here, and so that's what's going on in Hawaii. That's all the news that's fit to print that they aren't printing on the evening news. Uh, it's not exactly a pleasant story to have dinner over your dinner with. Hope the girl, uh, you know, can come through this okay, um, psychologically and all. But like I said, there's got to be a special place in hell reserved, you know, for somebody who did. If he's did what he's accused of, if he's found guilty, I hope they give him the max. Uh, anybody out there on gun channels have any thoughts on this? I'm looking at the text chat. On other news, just on my channel, trying to get over a respiratory illness, so this chat isn't going to be too long. But we're trying to pick out a scope for my new CZ carbon. Rings came in on Friday from Kona Guns, and so we're just dealing with finding the right eye relief type of scope for it. Yeah, so I'm gonna have a few words with the next DLNR agent I see. I can promise you that. I don't know. Maybe we could get the gun stores to stop selling them ammo or something. It's 100% certifiable out of control. So, and there's mud on everybody from the governor down. Yeah. So here's the guy. Once again, you get your 5 minutes of fame. Enjoy it. And of course, the other sad news of the day is David Bowie passed to cancer. Incredible recording artist with a string of hits. And first thing I thought of when I heard he passed is was just thinking of some chord progressions that I learned from his songs back in my guitar playing youth days. When I was a kid, I played guitar a lot more than messed around with guns. But you know, you know, I think there's David Bowie was a pretty talented person, and he just released an album, I think, 2 days ago. But anyway, so if you see this guy around, don't let him check your guns. He doesn't have any police powers anymore. Don't let him near your daughters. I'll be following this case and doing updates. Don't have too much else for this lock and load because this was just crazy enough. You know, it's bad enough that they want to just take everybody's guns, but this is just beyond. This is just over the top crazy. So, hey, Governor, might want to pay attention to this video. Get your DLNR got people, you know, in line, you know, with the law, the Constitution, and just not be in general fucking out of control. Jackboot thugs. Uh, I know you want to, you know, seize everybody's guns because there's obviously a glut of guns on the street, you know, but you know, this is just bullshit. So yeah, it's a total breach of public trust from the governor on down. This guy's just the low man on the totem pole, or the tiki pole. Yeah, Kaylee's gonna get you one day, bro. This kind of shit, Kylie is gonna get you. If there's any karma in the world. Like I said, he's innocent until they prove him guilty in court of law. But we'll see how it goes. I'll be watching. All right. Anybody over there on gunchannels.com/HVS got anything else they think we need to talk about? Take a quick look over there. Yeah, I would rant and rave louder more, except like I said, I'm recovering from respiratory illness. So if you expected screaming and yelling, uh, go over to some chat with Yankee Marshall on it. There'll be plenty of that. So this has been a shortened lock and load. And if you see this guy coming, you definitely want to lock and load because he's bad news. All right. So this is Hawaii Volcano Squad. And I don't know what to say, but watch out for the DLNR till they get their shit together. They're just totally out of control. All right. Peace out. And to, you know, I just think I'm just going to call the DLNR the fucking Girl Scouts from now on. I think that's about the reputation where they're at. I don't think they're all this bad, but you know, well, we're watching. Okay, all right. thanks for tuning in for to this lock and load. It's on every Monday. I think next week I might be able to talk for a little bit longer. I have been slowly been getting better, and but yelling and screaming about this guy, I have it in me emotionally, but my throat uh, doesn't isn't up to the task of telling him, you know, of just hurling, you know, what I really think out onto the interwebs out there. All right, but I think I said it all. And I wanted to thank Jesse James for trying to help me pick out a scope for my new CZ Carbon. All right, which is a legal hunting round. So that's what I'm going to be out there with as soon as I get an optic for it, you know, and I'll hopefully not run into any of these DLNR guys. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys.